So we've got our recording, which we've recorded with the recording levels set as far as they can go without peaking into the red up here. So let me just give you a quick demonstration of that, just to show you where the recording level should go.
Muscat Hills is a premium developer that is revered for honouring its commitments. It was the vision of His Highness that empowered our quality contributions that immensely...
So you really don't want to get your volume levels peaking into the red here, because that will mean that the playback will be distorted. So you want to set the recording levels as high as you can without going into the red when they peak. So having done that, having made your recording, the first thing to do is to play, or rather to reduce the room noise on the recording. And just to show you what I mean by room noise, I'm going to play the first couple of seconds of this recording, or the first second in fact, very loud, and hopefully even on this primitive homemade recording you'll be able to hear how high the room noise is.
Jeff Cotton, Muscat Hills.
Now I don't know if that will pick up on this recording, but hopefully it will, and you can hear the kind of rough static room noise at the beginning. So what we're going to do first is take out that room noise, and we do that by firstly highlighting the first second, which is just room noise, there's no voice on it. We then go to Effect and we go to Noise Reduction. In the Noise Reduction window we click on Get Noise Profile. So that means that we sample that first minute there of room noise, and we get that as a sample, as a profile. The window disappears. What we then do is compress the track using the Zoom Out tool, which is the magnifying glass with the minus sign in it, Zoom Out there. We highlight the whole track this time. We go back to Effect, back to Noise Reduction, and we apply, by clicking on OK, the settings here. We don't change those, we just go with them, default settings, and we apply those settings to the whole track, which we've highlighted. And you might just be able to see what happens to the rough lines here where there's no voice, what happens to it when I apply the noise reduction settings. Remember, we've already sampled the noise in the first second of the recording. So now we're applying these noise reduction settings to the whole recording. And when I click OK, you should be able to see a change in the flat line, the rough line here, between sections of my voice. There we go. That rough line has become smooth and flat, which means that we've taken out all the room noise in the whole recording. What we then need to do is take out the breaths and the clicks, mouth clicks and breaths, and we need to do that manually everywhere that they appear. There's no automatic way of doing that in Audacity, unfortunately. So what we do is expand the track again by going to Zoom In, which is the magnifying glass with a plus sign in it there. So we expand the whole track, we go back to the beginning using the arrow keys, and we take every section where there are clicks, every section where there isn't voice in fact, and we highlight it, every section. We go to Amplify. We take the slider on the amplification control down. So instead of amplifying that section that we've highlighted, what we actually do is de-amplify it. We make it quieter. We do that by taking the slider right down. We then apply that setting, and again you should be able to see the little clicks there, the little blips, disappear when I apply de-amplify to this part of the track. There they go. So that means all those clicks and breaths are out. We then go to the next section where there's no voice. We do exactly the same thing, but this time, fortunately, having highlighted that section, when we go back to Effect, we don't have to go back to the slider in Amplify and lower the slider again. I'll just wait for the siren to pass. Perfect timing. He's driving very slowly, I think, this siren. Sorry about this. Okay, that's disappearing. So what we then do is we go to Repeat Amplify. Now that means that we apply the same de-amplifying settings, but we don't have to set the slider again. It's just Repeat Amplify. Or in our case, we're de-amplifying, but it's still the amplify effect. So we just hit Repeat Amplify, and those clicks and breaths go out. We then move forward to the next section where there's no voice. and we highlight that, make sure we don't clip the end of the voice there, so we just make sure that we're not cutting off a bit of voice, just the silence that we want to take out all the breaths and the clicks. We go back to Effect, and we go to Repeat Amplify, and we do that same thing again. Go forward, next section. That, I think, is a breath rather than a piece of voice, so let's just double check that it is a breath by playing it back. Yes, it is, it's a breath, so we want to lose that, so we highlight that section, and then we go back to Effect, Repeat Amplify, and it disappears. And we go through every section. There's another big breath there, you can see that on the track, so we just highlight that breath, that section of track, back to Effect, Repeat Amplify, and out it goes. And so on, all the way through the track. I don't think there are many more on this very short track here. There's a breath there. I'm pretty sure that's a breath. Let's just check. Yes, it is. So we highlight that section, and back to Effect, Repeat Amplify, and that breath disappears. And that's it. That's the end of the track. So we just apply the de-amplifier to the end of the track as well, because we're going to leave a little bit of that on at the end so that it doesn't finish too abruptly. So let's just de-amplify that last bit of track there by Repeat Amplify, and that's it. So we've taken the clicks and the breaths out of every section of silence in the recording. What we then need to do is compress the track. We shrink the track again by going to zoom out, and we highlight the whole track, and we go to, let me just highlight that again because it wasn't done very well. So we highlight the whole track, we go back to Effect, and this time we're going to normalize it, which means normalizing the levels and boosting the levels where they need to be louder, lowering the levels where they need to be quieter. And we do that by highlighting it. We click on Normalize in Effect, and then when we get the Normalize window, we just click OK to apply the normalization, and you will see a slight change in the waveform when I do this. There we go. So it's made the louder bits as loud as they can go without clipping, and it's made the quieter bits louder. Now, of course, what that does, that process, is to make the room noise louder again. So just to make sure that there is no extra room noise added by the normalization process, we're going to repeat the noise reduction process. So we highlight the first second again, back to Effect, we go to Noise Reduction, get the noise profile now that that's been normalized. We then shrink the track again, and having highlighted the whole track, we apply noise reduction again, just to make sure that any noise which was amplified in the normalization process will now be eliminated with the new setting, with the new profile that we just sampled. So we apply that, that's done, and that leaves us hopefully with a very clean track, which I will now play you to show you how it sounds when all those effects have been applied.
Jeff Cotton. Muscat Hills is a premium developer that is revered for honouring its commitments. It was the vision of His Highness that empowered our quality contributions that immensely helped in modernising and uplifting Oman to where it proudly stands today.
And that's our track, so hopefully those effects, those techniques will help you in editing your Audacity recordings and mean that you can produce finished recordings with no clicks, no breaths, and most importantly, no room noise. So what we do now is save that track, make it ready to be sent as a sample track for, well, in this case it's going to the Voice Realm, but it could just as easily be going to another pay-to-play site like Casting Call Pro, or Voices Pro rather, or Hidalgo, whichever one you're auditioning for. So we go to Export Audio. Sorry, let me show you that again. We go to File, Export Audio. Gives us a choice. We can either send it as an MP3 file or as a WAV down here. But we're sending it as an MP3 because we want to send this as an upload to an audition site, to a pay-to-play site. So we name the track. In this case, it's going to be called Jeff Cotton VO Demo Muscat Hills, which is the name of the program that I'm auditioning for, and then MP3, and that's ready to be saved. So we click Save, OK there, and that should save. Before we delete this track in Audacity, let's just make sure that it has saved properly, because it would be a shame to lose it and then have to do all that work again. Excuse me, so let's just make sure that it has saved properly, which we do by going to videos, which is the directory where the file's been saved. We look for Jeff Cotton VO Demo Muscat Hills, which is somewhere here.
You actually had a slight typo, and it is void.
Was it void?
No, you spelt it void.
Oh, I spelled it void. Oh, okay. So, how do I spell it, Sam?
You spelt it V-O-I-D.
V-O-I-D. Oh, I see, V-O-I-D. So it's going to be saved as V-O-I-D.
Yes.
Well spotted. There we go. My trusty assistant has just pointed out that mistake.
I was going to say earlier, but didn't want to be speaking on the track. Sorry.
What would I do without her? Okay, so let's just make sure that it has saved, even though the file title has been misspelt.
Jeff Cotton. Muscat Hills is a premium developer that is revered for honouring its commitments. It was the vision of His Highness that empowered our quality contributions that immensely helped in modernising and uplifting Oman to where it proudly stands today.
So that's saved all right, which means that it's ready to go up to the voice realm as